Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here, and today you're a budding marine biologist and you're about to live out your lifelong dream by studying the vibrant ecosystem of the coral reef. But a typhoon just hit the reef, so you'll be trying to coax as many creatures back to the reef that you can and rebuild it into the vibrant ecosystem it once was. Open Ocean as a drafting and tableau building game for 1 to 5 players, plays in 20 to 30 minutes for ages 8 and up, and published by Featherstone Games. It's on Kickstarter right now, so I'm going to show you how the game works, and I'll see you on the other side. This is a Kickstarter preview, so all the art and components you see here are prototype. They're not final. You're going to want to check the Kickstarter link in the description of this video to see all the final art and components. Over the course of the game, you're going to be drafting cards and you're going to be placing them in your own reef, just like this. All players are building their own reef, and this is what your reef might look like further in the game, closer to the end, but this is what you're trying to build. Not only will you be building your own reef by drafting cards from your hand, you'll also be attracting cards from the ocean, which is what we see here. The game is played over 3 days of underwater exploration, which essentially is 3 rounds. Every player is going to start with a starter coral, and this is going to be sort of the bottom of their reef. Now at the beginning of each round, each player is going to get 6 cards, and they're going to be drafting one of these cards to place in their reef. And there's different types of cards like fish and coral and even some special cards. So each player is going to select one of those cards, place it face down in front of them, and one player will have this first player card. That player will flip up their card and place it. Now there's some placement rules and there's some different types of cards. This is a sun card because it has a sun in the upper left, and all these arrows mean that you have to place it connecting to another sun card in any of the directions that's completely around it, including diagonal, just like these arrows show. So this is pointing next to one of these sun cards. This is our starter coral, so this is good. And again, this is our bottom row of our reef, so there's no arrows down there, so we can't go below this. So we'll place this just like this. Now coral is cool because for each different color you have at the end of the game, you'll get a certain amount of points. In addition to that, all the cards are going to get the points for the face value in the upper left. In this case, it's going to be 1. Then you'll be able to activate the action on the card you just placed. In this case, this will allow us to attract one tiny fish from the ocean, and we'll need to connect it to this card that we just played. Now just to show you, here's the ocean, but here's the card we played. Tiny fish are 3 small ones. So we look at the cards here and we say, oh, look at this. We have a tiny fish card here, so we could take this one and add it to our reef. Now remember, this is the card we just played, so we have to place that card next to it. Now these cards, one with the fish, has this icon on it. This is border, basically. You have to place it next to a card that's bordered either up, down, left, or right, not diagonal to the card you just played like this. So here we have it like that. Now, the fish can be placed in one of 2 ways. One is in order. And the way that the order works is it will start with a sun, and they'll then go to the number 1. Then later on, when you play another card, you could add a 2 next to it because it's going in order. And then later on, place a 3 next to the 2. Now this could have gone down here as well, but again, these have to border the card that you put next to, up, down, left, right. So here we have sun, 1, 2, 3, and that's the way you can order different fish. But instead of going in order all the way, the other way you can place a fish card is doing it by school. And to do that, you'll place, again, bordered up, down, left, right, next to a card. And in this case, it's the same type of fish. So in this case, they're schooled together. So you either have to match fish with the same types of school or have it go in that numbered order that I showed you earlier. Now you'll always get points for the upper left number at the end of the game, but if you school them, each card that's in a school will get you an additional point. So in this case, it's 1, 2 for the face value, and then another 1, 2 for having 2 cards that are schooled together. So these 2 cards right now, if the game ended now, would get us a total of 4 points. But in this case, remember, we placed this, which allowed us to attract a tiny fish card from the ocean, which is what we did, and we placed that. It'd then be the next player's turn to flip over their card and make their move. Now the ocean will always get refilled after someone attracts something from it, so they'll take the top card and they'll place in here like this. Now at the end of any turn or round, if there's no fish in here, it will actually get refreshed, they'll all get discarded, and new ones will come out. Now after all the players have played their single card, You'll all take the cards you didn't select and pass them to the player to your left, which means you're actually going to get cards from the player to your right. It's going to be one less card than you had to choose from last time. And of course, the first player card will actually pass to the next player as well, so the first player marker sort of moves around. Now this will continue to happen like this until you only get past one card at the end of the round, then you just simply discard it out of the game, and that's the end of the round. Now at that point, every player will get 6 new cards to start a second round. You'll go through this all again, and there's a total of 3 rounds in the game. Now in addition to the sun cards and the fish cards, there's also some special cards. These ones have a white number here. This means that nothing can be placed around it, but they all have special actions. Like this one, the dolphin allows you to exchange this card for any one fish card in another player's reef. So for example, here's another player's reef. We want this card, so we're going to take this. We're going to give them the dolphin. The dolphin they can place anywhere in their reef, but they can't place anything, bordering this card, for the rest of the game. We'll place that fish right here because now we've got that little ordering going for us. Now let's say we played this shark card. This allows us to exchange this card with one in the ocean. So for example, maybe we want this 3 fish. We would exchange it for the shark just like that. And you'll place it here. We've got our order here, sun, 1, 2, 3, so we're doing pretty good on the fish there. However, if there's ever 3 sharks in the ocean, a feeding frenzy happens. This would make every player discard their largest unprotected fish. This is a 3, so this one would get discarded. However, you could protect this fish by having a sea anemone card anywhere surrounding it. This card protects any fish completely surrounded by this by having your card discarded like that. Now, if you place the sea turtle, not only is it 0 points, and not only can you not place any cards bordering it in the future, but it allows you to refresh the ocean. Meaning you discard all these 8 cards, and then you'd fill it up with 8 more, but then you can take one of them and place it in your reef. And you can never have more than 3 of these in your reef. And so you'll play 3 full rounds, and at the end of the game, you'll just add up all your points. Now again, you're gonna get points by the face value on all of the cards in the upper left. You'll add 1 point for each fish in a like school, so that would be 3 more. And we'd look at the different corals. We have a red branch, a green sponge, a yellow sponge, a pink sponge, and a teal branch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. And we'd look here, and that would actually get us 10 points. And whoever has the most points is the winner. If it's tied, whoever has the largest reef is the winner. Now you can also play with bonus goals. You can deal 1 or 2 of these to each player face down. And over the course of the game, this is a secret goal that you're trying to get. Like in this case, if we place a sea turtle bordering up, down, left, right, one of these yellow tangs will get 5 extra points at the end of the game. Or just like our final reef looked like this, if we had this for our goal, we do have these coral fish next to the teal branch coral, so this also would give us 5 points. Or you can play with them as public goals where you deal 3 of those to one side of the ocean, and then anybody that does any of these will get the points for them. Now there's a 2-player variant where at the beginning of each round, each player's gonna get 7 cards instead of 6. You'll draft back and forth like normal. And if the card you chose is unplayable, you just place it into the ocean, adding it to the other cards. Now, there's a 2nd player card in a 2-player game, and so after the 2nd player plays their card, they're then going to eliminate or discard a card in the ocean and replace it with a brand new card. But as they pass the cards over, they're also going to pass this. So every other turn, you're going to be the one to eliminate a card from the ocean and replacing it with a new card. There's also a solo mode, and in this case, you'll get 9 cards to start with each round. Now you'll also take the different goals and place them in 3 stacks. Now the top one is all face up, and when you complete one of these, you'll just place this face down near your reef, and the next card will come up, it will give you a new goal to shoot for, and at the end of the game, you're trying to fulfill as many of these goals as possible. Now when you're drafting your cards, remember you start with 9, you'll select 1. After that, you'll discard one of these cards out of the game, and then you'll discard one of the ocean cards and refill that back up, and that's sort of how the flow works in a solo mode. And in the solo mode, you still also play 3 rounds. Well, there you have open ocean. And as I showed in the overview, you're gonna be drafting and building your own beautiful reef with all sorts of different types of fish, schools, coral, you name it. Now, if you'd like to see all the final art and components and all the different pledge levels available, you can click the link below me in the description of this video. It will take you directly to the Kickstarter project page, and I'm sure the fine folks at Featherstone Games would love your support.